Coming up on today's Chiefs Report, we're going to take a look at the updated top free agent targets for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's been a busy first week of NFL free agency around the National Football League, but some notable names still out there, so we're going to break them down on today's show. I'm Harrison Graham. Let's jump on into today's video. We'll start with Yannick Ngakoue, the edge rusher who spent last season with the Indianapolis Colts. And I, for one, just do not understand why teams aren't more interested in the veteran pass rusher. He's been on 4 teams in his 7-year career, and he has 8 or more sacks in every year of his career. He had 9.5 last year, 10 the year before, 8 the year before, 8 the year before that. He is the epitome of consistency as a pass rusher, and for a team that moved on from Frank Clark, Ngakoue is my top target left. I think he's a guy that you can get for a somewhat affordable price at this point in free agency. I think he's going to give you 8 to 10 sacks. How does that impact a guy like Charles Omenihu who just signed? I don't know. I think Ngakoue is better than Omenihu. Omenihu might be a better run stopper, but I want guys who can get the quarterback, and that is something Yannick Ngakoue can do. I would like to see Kansas City go get him. Will they? We'll have to wait and see. Should Kansas City sign Yannick Ngakoue in NFL free agency? Type S for sign or P for pass. Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's go to our next free agent here. That is Leonard Floyd, another edge rusher who had 9 sacks last year. And he was drafted by the Chicago Bears in 2016, spent 4 seasons there with up and down success, but the last 3 years with the Rams, he's been rock solid, man. He's been really good with LA over these past 3 years. 10.5 sacks in 2020, 9.5 in 21, 9 this past year, 9 or more sacks in all 3 years there. He's always been an excellent run stopper, but the pass rush production was never there with Chicago. That happened with LA. Now, he's not a great scheme fit. He's been more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, but he's 250 pounds. I think he's big enough to stick his hand in the dirt and get after the quarterback if you need him to. I like Leonard Floyd a lot. Again, excellent run stopper, improved as a pass rusher during his time with the Rams. He's a guy that can help you go get opposing quarterbacks. Now, we'll get to our next guy here in just a second. Let's go to Jadeveon Clowney, sticking with the edge rusher theme here, as he is a guy we've talked about before. We talked about him a lot last offseason, ended up signing with Cleveland. Had kind of a funky year. By the end of the year, the two parties were kind of done with one another, only had 2 sacks, but like Floyd, really good run stopper, not as productive in recent years as a pass rusher. But what's weird about Jadeveon Clowney is he just doesn't stick with teams for more than a year at a time, it seems like. He's been a free agent for 5 straight off seasons now. He's a 1-year guy at this point. I like him. I still think he can be productive. I would rather go with Ngakoue than Clowney, but he knows the AFC pretty well. He spent several years in the AFC, so I would be interested in signing Jadeveon Clowney. Let's go to the big one. Odell Beckham Jr. missed last offseason with the torn ACL, has missed a lot of games in recent years. But one thing we know for sure is that the Chiefs are interested in Odell Beckham Jr. They let Juju Smith-Schuster walk for a pretty affordable cost to the New England Patriots. 3 years, $25.5 million, deal up to $33 million with incentives. That's not a ton. They could have paid that. Jordan Schultz reports that the Chiefs are interested in OBJ. Kansas City were one of a dozen or so teams that attended his workout a week ago Friday. But again, we've talked about this a lot. He has had injury problems. He just has. He missed all of last year with the torn ACL. 2021 played a lot of the year, but that knee from the ACL the year before never seemed fully recovered. He was good with the Rams, tore his ACL in that Super Bowl, though. 2020 was a mess. Then he tore that ACL the first time. Last full really good season was back in 2019 with the Cleveland Browns. Can OBJ get back to being an elite player? I don't know. There's a report out there he wants $15 to $20 million. Is he worth that? I would hesitate to pay that. But I think the Chiefs need another receiver. Maybe Odell Beckham fits the bill. So what do you guys think? Should the Chiefs sign Odell Beckham Jr.? Type OBJ for yes. Type no BJ for no. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Should the Chiefs go get OBJ? Let's go back to the defensive line. That is Poona Ford, just a bowling ball, 5'11", 310 pounds. 3 sacks last year. I like what he did in 2022 with the Seattle Seahawks. I think he could be a guy that could help replace Kalen Saunders, who signed elsewhere in NFL free agency. I like Poona Ford. He's a guy who can rush the passer. He's a pretty good run stopper. He can eat up blockers, let Chris Jones eat if you put Poona Ford next to him. I think he could fit well in this 4-3 scheme at that one-tech spot next to Chris Jones. So keep an eye on this. I don't think he'd cost a ton. He's had some productive years with the Seattle Seahawks. Now subscribe to the Kansas City Chiefs Report by Chat Sports for the latest Chiefs news and rumors all year long. We're going to have you covered on this channel with everything surrounding this football team. Free agency is the focus right now, but draft coverage will heat up as well as we get closer to April's NFL draft. So subscribe and don't miss any of our coverage here on the channel. Isaiah Wynn is next up here, the offensive tackle with the New England Patriots. He is an interesting type of option for Kansas City. He could compete with Lucas Niang at that right tackle spot if Jawaan Taylor does indeed end up being the left tackle for Kansas City. I kind of like the idea of Lucas Niang being the right tackle, but I think bring in competition. Isaiah Wynn can be just that. He's got a lot of starting experience with New England, so keep that in mind. Let's talk about our sponsor. You can get Super Bowl championship gear with our sponsor Fanatics. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, a whole lot more. It never gets too old saying the Chiefs are Super Bowl champions, so you might as well represent by getting some gear. Chatsports.com/ChiefsSB. Chatsports.com/ChiefsSB. The Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Go represent with some gear today. Okay, next up is Adam Thielen. There's been some deep rumors that the Chiefs could be interested in Thielen, some ideas out there that they should go out and target him. Had a pretty good year last year with Minnesota, 70 catches, 716 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's not going to give you a ton after the catch, but as a veteran possession receiver, I would not mind him for cheap. Like, he could probably be a little less than what Juju was last year, and if you can get that for $5-6 million bucks, I think that's probably a pretty good deal for Kansas City. He's certainly not a number 1. I don't even know if he's a number 2, but he's a vet that could work the middle of the field, the underneath stuff. He's not going to challenge teams downfield at this point in his career, but he knows how to play. How about Mecole Hardman? Listen, I'd be surprised still, but the longer he's available, the longer I wonder if maybe bringing him back on a cheap 1-year deal could be in order. We saw a guy like Paris Campbell go for a 1-year, $4.7 million contract. Mecole Hardman coming off an injury in a poor wide receiver market this year. Maybe re-signing, having a healthy year, and going to try to get a bigger contract next year could be in the works. Who knows? I mean, I would not completely rule out the possibility of bringing him back. I would still be surprised, but again, I thought he'd be signed by now, and the fact that he hasn't been, probably is a little bit concerning for him. We know how electric he can be in open space. So, hey, maybe the two sides come together and they run it back in 2023. Now, pick a wide receiver. Who would you rather have? Certainly polar opposites in terms of what they bring to the table. Type AT for Adam Thielen, type MH for Mecole Hardman. Who would you rather see back in Kansas City at the wide receiver position? Let me know in the comments. Talk about another Chiefs free agent here, Jerick McKinnon, who I still maintain I think he will be back in Kansas City on a 1-year deal. I like the Thunder and Lightning approach with Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. Pacheco, your primary bat, McKinnon, your third down back who can catch the ball well. I thought he had a really good year for Kansas City, over 800 all-purpose yards and 10 total touchdowns. He was awesome, especially down the stretch of the regular season. I think I would certainly like to bring him back. He's good in blitz pickup. He catches the ball well. He just knows what his role is, and when you can find role players that know their role, that's really nice to have, and Jerick McKinnon is certainly just that. Let's end with the quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. The Chiefs tendered Shane Buechele. He'll be back, and certainly will have a chance to be this team's backup quarterback after sitting behind Chad Henne the past couple of years after Henne retired. But Teddy Bridgewater is a guy with a lot of experience, and if you want to go with a guy that has more experience, that is a safer backup option, Teddy Bridgewater is probably a more valuable backup than Shane Buechele. Now, Buechele's back in the fold, but is he ready? That's the question I have. That's the question the Chiefs have to answer. You would think he would be entering year 3 in this offense, but if they want a more sure thing as a backup, then Teddy Bridgewater could fit that mold. I don't think the Chiefs want to pay a lot for a backup quarterback, but maybe Bridgewater is cool with strictly being a backup and chasing a Super Bowl ring. We'll have to wait and see. What do you guys think? Do the Chiefs need to sign a vet QB2? Type Y for yes, or you can type N for no. Need is a strong word, but I do think at some point they're going to have to add a third quarterback to this roster to get through the offseason and training camp and so forth. So Y for yes, N for no. Let me know if you think the Chiefs need a veteran backup. All right, guys, that's it for today's Chiefs Report. Appreciate everybody for tuning into today's episode. If more moves happen, we'll have you covered here on the channel. Enjoy some March Madness as well. It's a great time of the year on the sports calendar. I'm Harrison Graham signing off. We'll see you soon here on the Chiefs Report.